kids are enchanted and filled with wonder at the sight of like characters. And they love magic and play. And drag queens are all of those things. So I knew that, a drag queen reading a really cool kids book to a room full of children would be a massive hit. I'm Michelle T. I'm a writer and I'm a literary arts organizer, and I'm the creator of Drag Queen Story Hour. I was a new mom. I had my child late in life, in my 40s. And so at that point, I'd spent decades in the queer arts community. And suddenly I found myself in these mommy and me environments that were by default very straight. And I just missed my queer culture and started thinking, what would these types of events that are for kids look like if it sort of got queerified a little bit? And so I was like, oh, obviously a drag queen. Panda Dulce and Pickle are two of the original Drag Queen Story Hour queens. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you guys. Thank you for doing this.
Of course.
Panda Dulce was one of the queens at the very first ever Drag Queen Story Hour in San Francisco. And Pickle is the very first queen that I worked with when I started a chapter in Los Angeles.
I mean, I really feel that Michelle had this idea that is truly so brilliant. And so when I heard it, I was like, that's so great. I want to do that. And I did the first one at Stories in Los Angeles, and it was so fun and just so magical that I just got hooked, and I just had to keep doing it.
I was thrilled at the idea of Drag Story Hour. The idea of bringing one's drag persona to youth work was exciting to me because I remember when I was a kid, I was so enchanted by story time with my librarian, Mrs. Robinson, at my elementary school. That was a time when you can let your imagination fly.
The very first Drag Queen Story Hour happened in San Francisco, and from there, it just started popping off. I started getting emails, from places around the United States that was surprising, like Brownsville, Texas. And then I started getting emails from all over the world. I was so excited that this felt a little bit like a movement. But I think there's a lot of conservatives that find that really threatening.
If people are threatened by drag, I think they should really interrogate why that is before they storm a library.
There's a huge disconnect between the environment that these disruptors create and what they seem to be trying to say. They're screaming, protect the children, and they're screaming slurs, and they're screaming threats, and they're creating a violent environment that upsets these children. It can be very stressful to think that, these kids might be entering a situation where there's danger. It weighs on me a lot. To back down because of people that feel threatened by this joy is not an option.
Drag Queen Story Hour is so crucial now because we are seeing this slate of anti-trans legislation. We are seeing anti-drag legislation. And it's really awful the way that the anti-drag people have brought violence into their responses. Kids are getting those messages. We need to let kids know that it's okay that they are who they are. It's okay for them to exist. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to a little afternoon Drag Queen Story Hour. I'm really happy that these two drag queens are here, but I just wish that they hadn't just vanished. Will you all help me by screaming their names? Panda! Panda Dulce! Panda!
There you are!
Oh my goodness, okay.
I firmly believe that seeing is believing, and that's why media, that's why storytelling is so important. I want kids to be able to envision themselves as the protagonists of their own story. Y'all are so good at this.
in so many environments, we tell children that they need to behave and they need to be quiet. This is about letting them be silly. It's okay to have big ears. Can you show me big ears? Drag is such a good way to teach children about the spirit of play.
That is all harmony there.
I guess as a queer mom, and he has 2 moms, I like to bring him to events like this, and there's just not that many events for LGBTQ families.
We'll definitely be at the next one.
I do think that Drag Queen Story Hour is the best idea I ever had, but for me it was just an idea. All of the drag queens that are out there made it happen.